Welcome to another edition of the Harman Solar podcast. I'm Ralph Romano, your host, VP of Sales and Marketing at Harman Solar. And back with me is my co-host, Ben Walschlager. You know him as Mr. Everything.
That's right. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. So I've got to ask the question now. Last time we talked, your business card was a newspaper.
Yeah.
We went from card, pamphlet, newspaper. What do we have today?
Scroll.
We're on the scroll. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
So we're getting biblical. I like it. All right. So today, what are we going to talk about today?
We have a guest. Just get right into it. We have a guest.
Yeah, we have a guest.
Every episode, we have a guy.
We have a guy usually. This time we got a gal.
That's right.
Right? And so today we're talking about the electrical vehicle charging network. So basically, the electrical vehicle charging network. So basically EV cars and then the infrastructure and all those kinds of things. Now, we're not here to talk about EV vehicles. We're not going to sell you a vehicle, but we are going to talk about the infrastructure around that and what that means. And we'll get into the actual industry as itself because this is an industry expert. So we are privileged today, I tell you, to have, who do we have again?
Her name's Trisha.
Appreciate you.
Trisha Windell.
Yes.
Hi, Trisha.
Thank you. Welcome, world.
Welcome, world. How are you, Trisha?
I'm amazing. Thank you.
She's amazing.
Look at that.
So we have some energy in the room today.
That's finally after 9 podcasts.
It just took me in the room. That's it.
Yep.
So, Trisha, obviously I know you work for Harman.
Yes.
Tell me, how long you been at Harman?
Going on almost 7 years now. I know. Time flies.
Yep.
Everyone, right? We say this
That's
every
the theme,
week.
the common theme.
Every podcast. It's 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. Dennis
lucky
was 12
number
years.
7.
Yeah, so
So if you want to be on the podcast,
7
you
years.
have to wait at least 7
This
years.
is your
to do it.
anniversary gift.
Right.
You have to
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So 7 years at Harman. And what did you do before Harman?
I was in marketing and advertising.
Cool.
Nice.
I know, right? Used to sell radio commercials.
Wow. That's why she's meant for radio.
That.
Makes
Sense. That's why there's a
face for
natural
radio.
feel here.
Yeah.
So that's right. She was in the radio industry, and
Yes.
I poached her.
You did.
I
You
did.
You recruited me.
You were actually my rep, and
Yes.
and I wanted you to come over, and we made that happen after about 1.5 years or so.
Yeah, it took a little pursuing
took a little
and probably the best career move I made. So thank you.
Absolutely the best career she ever made
sweet.
because
Yes.
it's all because of me.
All right, moving on.
All right.
That's our show today.
That's our show today. So tell me about your role at Harman right now. What do you do?
My current role at Harman is a jack of all trades, but
No. There's there's only one Mr.
There's
Everything.
one of that.
Yeah. So you can't be the
what
jack
about a
of all
Mrs.
trades.
Everything?
No, because Mr. Everything's really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
All right, fair
he
enough.
is.
I really
Jack
focus
of some trades.
Yeah.
You'd be the jack of some trades.
No jacks.
I really focus on the electric vehicle infrastructure of car chargers. So I seek business for Harman, dealing with Electrify Americas, Tesla Supercharger Highways. ADOT is doing a program where they're putting in level 3 fast chargers. So just going after that business and bringing it to Harman.
Okay. So, and to talk, let's real quick backstory to that is so when you first came on, you were selling commercial solar.
I was.
And we started thinking, and this was probably, 6 years ago. And we started saying, the EV world is starting to gain some momentum.
Yes.
And we don't know anything about it. We probably should get ahead of this.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
I tasked you with actually kind of leading that charge and developing that channel for us. And boy, did you.
Yeah, you took a leap of faith. You believed in me. I came back all excited after a utility conference seminar, and I learned about all the tax credits that were available and all the incentives. And
Right.
I was like, gosh, I feel like this was solar, 20 years ago. This is all the money's out there. People need to go after it. Nobody knows about it. There's no education. And organically, it was a great fit for Harman. It was a risk,
It was.
but
was.
yeah.
But we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. We knew it was coming,
Yes.
and you had the enthusiasm and the want to do it,
Yeah,
and you did it.
I did.
Right. And
Yes.
and I'm going to say this, and for our audience, Trisha is, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion, is probably the number one. She's probably the authority or the expert in the state when it comes to this stuff because people come to you, not just any people. These are high level people. These are people within the utilities. They come talk to you about this stuff because you have so much knowledge. And you spent probably a good 2-3 years just networking in the beginning to get to know these people and you get into this, and you educated yourself at a different level.
Yes.
Right. So you're the expert. I mean, I don't kid around when I say you're the expert. You really are the expert in this territory, in this field.
Thank you.
So we're honored today.
Not only did she take on the task, she crushed it.
She did.
Yeah.
She crushed it. So what better podcast to have than to talk about this world and give people an education on it? Because, a lot of our viewers are probably just people that own homes that are thinking about buying an electric car, and they want to learn more about the infrastructure. They want to learn more about how do I charge this thing, all that kind of. We're going to kind of talk about a little bit about that stuff today.
Yeah.
You mean your car doesn't just have like a USB-C and you plug it into your wall outlet? That's
You just don't use your app and push play and then
Yeah.
it charges? No.
That's not how it works?
Not yet.
No.
Interesting.
And disclaimer, I'm going to be real honest about this. I am not the expert in this area, and I'm going to say this.
We know.
Neither is Mr. Everything.
Well-
He's going to come off trying to say he is.
No.
He's not.
No.
There's only one expert in this room when it comes to this field, and we're going to kind of learn today by talking with you and kind of educate our audience as well.
I'm planning on learning a lot, actually.
Good.
Wow.
You need to.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I'm extremely passionate about it. And I think that's the biggest piece that is missing everywhere is education. Everybody's
Right.
talking about it. We just need to educate a little bit more.
Because in the next few years, and I mean, going forward, I mean, this is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're going to talk about some of the things going on why that's going to happen. Let's start at the base, right? So people see the initials EV. What does that mean, right? Or EVSE, and this always confuses me. What does that mean? So EV is
Electric vehicle.
wow, that was hard.
I know.
It's funny because we say like she's our EV specialist. Like, no, wait.
No, she's really
I'm
not.
always
not our
corrected.
EV
I'm like,
specialist.
no, I'm not an electric vehicle
We don't
specialist.
sell
No.
cars at
Right.
Harman.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly. Not yet.
Okay.
It could happen. We could be a total turnkey.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Your expertise is the EVSE side,
Yes.
which means
Electric vehicle service equipment or charging infrastructure. So there's really not a lot of consistency in this space with terminology.
right.
So depending on who you talk to or what you're talking about, it's going to be called something totally different. We are not EV though. I do not focus on electric vehicles themselves.
Right. You focus on the things that help keep those vehicles on the road.
Charging the battery.
Right.
Yep.
Infrastructure, other things, right? So,
Yep.
okay. You just learned something.
Yeah, I'm writing that down.
So write it down. I need you to write it down. Today, I'm going to have a few quick slides because I want to get into some of the base equipment that people need to get familiar with if they're going to get into this world.
Yeah.
Talking about the chargers and stuff. You really can't see this slide, but it has the 3 types of chargers, and I know you have more you know a lot about them: the level 1, level 2, and level 3.
Yes.
So I'll let you elaborate, but I can just give real quick just to give you just this chart. I mean, it says level 1, basically 120 volt charger, goes into a standard outlet, and it's more of a residential use piece.
Yes.
Is that the one that you typically get with a car? If you buy it, they'll give you that residential level 1
Yeah, it
charger.
looks like a little weird extension cord.
Is it like
and
a
that's
trickle charger?
Yes, exactly.
And takes a long time to charge
Yes.
the car, right?
Yes.
Like overnight,
Right.
Yes.
if you're lucky.
Right.
Tesla, I know they give them with all the Tesla. I think they do it with every manufacturer does that now, right? Or they
Yeah, they're giving you an option now to purchase a charger, but they're going to give you some sort of an adapter that you can use in your home to plug it in.
okay, and that's level 1.
Yes.
Then you go to level 2. Now, level 2 is a 240 volt charger, right? And it could be used in residential or it could be used even in commercial at times.
Correct.
But and what's the differences besides the 240 versus the 120?
Well, it's going to charge your car a little bit faster. It's pulling more energy to charge your battery.
Little more
so,
juice,
and they're smart chargers, so you can use your app. It's used a lot in the commercial space. That's what you're going to see is mainly level 2 chargers when you go to shopping centers or hospitals or something like that. Those are called level 2s. So, or at a workplace.
Now, the ones that we install in the home sometime, the Clipper Creeks of the world, the charge points, the Tesla ones that go on the wall that we hardwire in, is that a level 2?
That is a level 2, yes.
Okay. So they're good to know.
And you mentioned that there's an app with it. What are the functionalities of the app? Can you like program it to charge certain times of the day
Yeah.
and things like that?
Yep.
That's what I was wondering.
So just like a battery bank, if you're, comparing it to solar and things like that. So your app, you can actually make reservations if you're on the road and traveling. You can just go to an app and say, hey, I know I'm going to be here. I'm going to reserve this. And you're going to find out what chargers are available or not.
Oh.
But if you have those in your home, you will be able to tell your car when to charge.
Yeah, because like your phone, you just plug it in and
Exactly.
it starts charging. But on your car, you can say, I only want you to charge it on these times, maybe it's off-peak times or things like that. You can
Exactly.
adjust it.
And there's going to be some time of use rates. I may be jumping the gun a little bit,
No, you're
but
not.
utilities are going to do time of use rates on those too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
And then there's level 3.
Level 3.
DC
The big
fast
uns.
chargers, right?
It's the big uns, yes.
So these are 480 volt chargers typically. Tell us about these.
So these are a high volt charger. So these need to come off of a large infrastructure, meaning transformers. Level 2s, you're going to be using a breaker. Think of it as any other appliance you have in your car. So even when you're using it for a commercial application, you still are going to come off of a breaker. It is a low volt charger. So meaning a high volt is going to be charging your car a lot faster. So this is what you're going to be seeing on the interstates, the highways, the corridors, the gas stations. They look like a gigantic gas pump.
Wow. So technically they are a gas pump in a sense, right?
Well,
Yeah,
without the
yeah.
gas part.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, because they would blow up.
Right.
Okay. So that's the 3 type of chargers that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else right now, right?
Is there a level 4 coming? Are we allowed to disclose that?
Oh, are you talking about the Tesla one?
Is there level
There's
4
like a
and 5 and 10?
V4 Tesla. We won't jump ahead too much
Okay,
because that's just kind of hitting
That's
the
a
market.
secret.
I didn't even know that. Did you just guess?
Well, I'm a math wizard, so when you talk about level 1, 2, and 3, naturally
There's gotta be 4?
There's got to be a 4 coming up, right? So
It's not like razor blades. It's not like blade 1, blade 2,
No.
blade.
the Mach 4
We have
charging.
the technology for a 5 blade, but we're not putting it out yet.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
So these are level 2s right here on the screen. So there's the Tesla one that hangs on the wall. The Clipper Creek, which we sell. We that was the first one I think we started actually going with, and we started doing residential, right?
You know what? It's a great product. It's great. It is not a smart charger. So there's a difference. You have the smart chargers and you have what a dummy charger is. So that one's just a plug and play. That
So
doesn't.
it's dummy.
I
It didn't get schooling or
It's a-
what?
I
just a
know.
phrase.
Shame on it, right?
She's called it stupid.
It is one of the most now I can't even talk. Robust chargers that are out there. It's simple. There's a lot less pieces that can go wrong.
Sure.
You don't have to pay for software, networking, anything like that. It's great for anything that's locked up. So if it's behind a fence, like if you have a Harman Electric, it could go behind our fence.
Or if it's in my
Something like that.
garage, would be a good place for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Tesla chargers. I mean, why is Tesla? So they look nicer. Everything Tesla just looks good, right? They look
They're
cool.
sleek. They're nice.
Right. That's just what Tesla does. Are they better? Is there something different about them? Obviously, they fit on a Tesla. We get that. There's an
Right.
adapter, but what's the big deal about them? Is there a big deal?
So think about it as your Apple. So Tesla has products that they put out for themselves. So Tesla cars before used to pull into a Tesla charging network. It was really simple and easy and clean for them. Then they had an adapter that they could use any other charger that was available. Normal cars could not plug into a Tesla charger.
Right.
So it was proprietary. There's still a fast charger. There's not anything any different. It's just what cars can plug into them.
Okay. And they look nice.
And they look nice.
Well, and there's like on here I have JuiceBox. I have a Charge Point. I know we do a lot of work. I think we actually work with JuiceBox.
We did a really large project with JuiceBox. There's a national case study. We installed 106 juice boxes at a private condominium complex in Scottsdale.
I was waiting for her to say like at a preschool. I
Yeah,
don't know why. but
I was thinking the
boxes.
same thing. We installed 106 juice boxes.
Yeah, so that was the
right.
first one that happened in the United States.
Wow.
It was fruit punch.
And there's a ton of them out there now, right? There's a lot of companies out there.
Oh my gosh, everybody's going after the money.
Because when we first started this, I remember Clipper Creek. I don't remember much of anybody else except for maybe Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, it was Clipper Creek, it was ChargePoint, and LX was more international. There's still the big players. Now there's Wallbox. I mean, I probably
There's
get a
so
call
many.
once a week from a new manufacturer. So what's happened is a lot of these manufacturers are white labeling it, meaning another company can purchase them and put their own sticker on it and sell them.
Yeah.
So Zeal Energy is a great example. They're Clipper Creeks, but they put their label on it and then they sell it as Zeal Energy. So it's pretty confusing to a consumer.
Well, it's like what Trader Joe's does, right?
A lot of people do it.
Yeah, I mean, they put their
Costco,
name
Kirkland.
on it. Costco does it. Kirkland.
Yeah.
Same
It's the
thing.
same thing, just
So
different
that's
sticker.
what's happening. There's a lot of investment companies that are out there that are like, hey, there's money coming down this pipeline. Let's take advantage of it.
Okay. And then these are the commercials. So these are the level 3s, right? So these are the ones, and we've done so many of these.
We have.
These are actually our projects.
They are.
So we do stuff with APS, right? That's the blue one on the left there. So we did a lot of stuff with APS. Electrify America. I remember when they came out,
Yeah.
their job was to basically try to create a nationwide road of chargers.
That was their criteria, yeah.
Right.
As part of the fines that they got for Volkswagen, they created Electrify America, and so they had to create a charging network.
Right. And then Tesla, obviously, the nicest looking charger in my opinion. I like the way they look. I think, are they only for Tesla?
So what's happened is the adapters have changed. So now normal cars can plug into
Oh, they can?
Tesla. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, that was smart.
Yeah, Tesla, I think, didn't they first roll out with like Ford said they can use them, and then a few other companies kind of jumped on board. Yeah,
exactly. So there's standardization. So there's different plugs that you can get, and so Tesla's come out with one, and manufacturers have adapted that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big talk of the industry.
And then this last picture, I'll let you say what that is.
Oh, that is the Phoenix Zoo. Harman Solar, Harman Electric did a program with City of Phoenix and SRP. So we installed solar covered parking along with level 2 chargers, and it's in front of the zoo.
Oh, wow. So if you're at the zoo and you're charging your car,
Thank you, Harman.
thank you, Harman, I guess.
Thank you,
Now,
City of Phoenix. Thank you, SRP.
These chargers come at a cost, right? People have to pay to get the energy out of them, right?
Yes.
So it's
they
like,
do.
this is like basically going, this is a gas pump, as we talked about before. This is somebody that has an
just a
electric
lot
car.
cheaper.
They go park in front of one of these things and they spend 30, 40 minutes, whatever it is. I don't know how long it is, but
You know what? It changes. Everybody always asks, like, how long is it going to take to charge my car? How much is it going to cost? Well, it's a constant variable. It depends on how low your battery is. If it's on empty, and
do any one of these charge faster than the other?
no.
They're all the same.
It's all based on your battery and technology. So each car has different ways to get the energy, faster, slower. It's all dictated by the battery, the manufacturer, and how big it is.
You see that debate like online all the time. You're like, oh, I don't want to take 20 minutes to charge my car and all that stuff. Like, it's just like your cell phone. If your cell phone's completely dead, it's going to take a while to charge it. If your cell phone's at 95%, it's not going to take long to charge it. So when you are fueling up your car, it depends on how much battery life it needs to recharge.
Yeah.
So it could take 20 minutes. It could take 2 minutes. We
Now,
don't know.
I know we weren't going to talk cars, but is there a car or a manufacturer that is quicker, better when it comes to charging?
I don't sell electric vehicles.
So you don't really, you don't want
No.
disclaimer.
well-
Disclaimer: you do not sell electric vehicles.
What?
I will say that the new models that are coming out have a longer range. So
Right. Which
bigger
that's,
battery.
we'll talk about that,
Yeah.
but that's the
yeah.
bigger.
So it's just your battery size.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these are for profit. We've done so many projects in the last few. It's just ridiculous. We've done some really cool stuff. I mean, that's the end of my slideshow. I just wanted to give people a basic understanding of what the chargers are, what's out there, blah, 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 how they work. So question for you. And so this is going off topic now of that.
Okay.
Is demand for these products, are they outgrowing the supply, do you think?
The demand for the charging units?
Just for the cars, for the infrastructure, for everything, for this whole market. Is the demand for this market getting greater and outgrowing the supply?
Yes.
Or it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've all heard that the notion of that we're going to be all electric vehicles by 2030, 2035, just depending on what state you're in. It doesn't mean that gas cars are going to be going away, but what's happened is American production has ramped up electric vehicles. Prices come down a little bit. We have a longer range. So it's more affordable for people to buy electric vehicles. It takes a really long time to get this infrastructure in place. It is not an overnight task. There could be from 12 months to 36 months.
Yeah.
So that's what's happened is we have a lot of EVs that are on the road. We just don't have the charging network for them. The batteries, there's no more range anxiety. I think that was a big term that came out when electric vehicles hit. You couldn't go from like here to California because you didn't have anywhere to charge. So that's alleviated a little bit, but we have to get that infrastructure built up for the cars that are on the road.
So she's hitting all my talking points, which is just very frustrating.
I know. It's
Right.
a 2-minute podcast. We're
Well,
all
I
done.
have worked with you
That's
for
our
almost
show
7 years. I
today.
read your mind.
But I want to focus on that for a second. So, bad press, good press. I mean, I feel that the EV world has become kind of political.
It has.
Unfortunately, everything is political nowadays, and I think this is falling right into it. If you're this side of the aisle, you're all about EV, and we should be, doing EV by next year.
Yeah.
100%.
Disclaimer, Harman is neutral.
Yeah, Harmon is totally neutral. We're just giving what's going on out there.
Exactly.
And then if you're on the other side of the aisle, it's like, no, fossil fuels, we need them, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The reality is we need to meet in the middle somewhere, obviously. That just makes all sense. But you make things like this political, you're going to start hearing all the negatives in the news. I mean, it's driving the narratives, unfortunately, that are making maybe people shy away from wanting to look into EVs or look into charging. I don't know. I think it's a shame that they do that because there is a definite benefit to this. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Like for me, like
You're a muscle car guy.
I'm a muscle car guy.
Yeah.
A Harley that's really loud, and they have an electric Harley out. To think that I'm gonna be on a Harley going, I don't know that I can.
Not
handle
hearing
that.
the noise. Yeah.
Right. I live for the noise to be deaf by the time I'm 70.
I can sit on the back and do the noise for you.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
That would be weird.
I would do
Funny,
that.
but weird.
I would. Could we go to a dealership and do a test drive like that? That would be so funny.
I'll take it.
I just love the way it sounds. But let's talk about the infrastructure. So I think of going back to a time when we invented the car, the combustion car, and there was no gas stations, right? I mean, so we're kind of in that same place right now with this. The infrastructure is not there.
Right.
It's just not. But
That doesn't mean it's not going to always not be there. Like,
no, and that's what I'm going to next. I mean, it's getting better.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want you to talk about, like, for instance, I know that in Arizona, they're being tasked with putting that infrastructure in place.
Yes.
Maybe you could talk about what they're looking to do.
Yeah, so we all know about the gigantic bill, $1 billion plus bill that was passed, and that's for charging infrastructure across the United States. So Arizona applied for the grant, and that was $76.5 million to install the infrastructure, DC fast chargers on corridors. Sadly, that money it's not going to go far.
Right.
And we know just from sheer volume and doing it ourselves. But it's nice because we're getting the help and the financial help to get it done. It doesn't mean that, again, we're all going to go to EV. We're diversifying. That's the whole idea of this. And I think that people really lose sight of that. If you don't want an EV, you don't have to buy an EV. But if you do, when you pull up to a charger, you want it to work and you want it to be available for you. So we just have to build that infrastructure up.
And I think in Arizona, it's kind of tough because we're a desert state.
Yep.
And there's a lot of areas where there's just nothing, right? So now you're going to have to build an infrastructure out in that area to put a charger up, and that's not cheap.
Yeah, and the infrastructure is just not as easy as coming off a transformer. You have to go down the line to where the power grid is.
Sure.
And then you have to run lines from a power grid all the way to new transformers, new service. When you look at these equity zones, which is where some of these DC fast chargers are going on the very northwest tip of Arizona, we did a site audit and they still have a transformer, a cone transformer on a pole. That's not going to charge anything. So it's, yeah.
There's a little shack at the below it with a wire going
You all
through
know
it.
what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. You look up on a pole and you see like this round cylinder on there. That's
Clark Griswold with his.
that's what exists. And just weird stuff that you learn. Like we're not allowed to install charging stations at rest stops.
Huh.
Not just us in Arizona, but anywhere.
What?
Makes common sense, right? You think, oh gosh, a rest stop.
Why wouldn't you allow that?
Because you're not able to do anything monetary at rest stops.
Oh, that's why there's no gas stations.
Yep.
Are there vending machines? Does that count? Or
There's a little loop there, but yeah.
There's no restaurants, and I guess, yeah.
That's
true.
I mean, I get it, but it seems like the most logical place to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe put it like a foot down the road. It's not the rest stop.
Oh, there you go.
It's the
Again,
charging
it's
station.
pulling all the power
Technicality.
that's there.
Yeah.
These things take a lot of power.
Sure.
Huh. Okay.
I did not know that.
I'm learning so much. And we were going to talk about limitations of vehicles. I think the biggest limitation, like you were touching on, was the battery's ability to go a certain distance. And they are getting, I think the typical Tesla out there was what, 300 miles?
Yeah, I mean, there's some out that are 400 and just depending on what you have. But probably the most topical thing is the uptime. You're going to hear that term, meaning that if I look on my app and I pull up and I see there's one available at Desert Ridge, great. I pull my car in, I go to plug it in, it's not working. And so that is probably the biggest heartburn that we're seeing right now.
So there's an app that shows me where I can go find a charger, kind of like the app that shows me how much gas is at a gas station.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
that's kind of cool.
And you can reserve it just like Open Table.
That's
Really?
nice.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I like that.
I like it. So if you reserved it and somebody else is there, what happens?
It just doesn't work for them.
Is it a
like that.
fist fight?
It will stop. Yeah.
It just doesn't work for them.
Doesn't work for them.
Then you pull up and you're like, excuse me, I had a reservation.
You just go knock on the window.
So
Pardon moi.
Ben, party of two for the charger. Oh, that's me, thank you.
So two things here. So the one thing I was going to mention is this is obviously uptime. Uptime. You talked about uptime. Now there's some kind of a standard that's out there. What does explain that?
Yeah. So this money that we got from the government for the NEVI funds, that $76.5 million, part of the criteria is a 97% uptime, meaning that when you pull up to one of these chargers, it better work.
Right.
We still don't know what that looks like, if there's going to be fines or what's happening in service, which Harman has been doing servicing of charging stations as well for the last 4 or 5 years. So we're waiting to see what that's going to look like.
Who's Nevi? Is that like your aunt or something? Who's Nevi?
My aunt Nevi, like that?
Yeah.
That is the term for the money that was awarded to ADOT. It was Nevi funds from the federal government. Yeah.
Nice.
That's was throwing family in.
So
there.
it has to work. It's
97%.
And just like with
efficacy.
Going to the gas station, I'm sure you've done it many times. You go pull up the gas pump and it's got the little yellow bag on there.
Yeah, if you went to a gas station and they all had yellow bags, what would you do?
Exactly. Go to the next one. Yeah.
Yep.
Take a bag.
Yeah.
It just means the pump's not working.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I wanted to touch on the vehicle limitations that we were talking about. It is funny that you see in these debates where, people are like, oh, the range on these cars, is not great. And I always have two, rebuttals to that. Like, first of all, if the range is like 300 miles, are you driving 300 miles in a day? What are you doing?
Right.
I take trips up to Flagstaff every single day. Like, people charge it, they have charging stations. We charge it at night. Like, you're not using your 300 miles probably every single day. So charge it when you're done. And then the other thing is funny because, an old Chevy, 1985 Chevy box truck probably got 10 miles to the gallon on a 20-gallon tank. That's 200-mile range.
Yep.
So, sure, batteries may not be great right now, giving you that full range that you want, but it's getting better. Just like internal combustion engines were.
Right.
At first, they weren't great. They were getting 5-6 miles per gallon, but they've got better over time.
Right. We had actually
we're in there.
Harman had an electric vehicle. I'm not going to name the name of the manufacturer. It rhymes with Hisson. Anyway, you figure that one out.
Yeah.
What it had, 40-mile range?
Yeah, it was like 80
miles.
It was 80 miles.
Yeah.
But that was one of the first ones. So I mean,
Exactly.
the example, they've gotten better and better.
We've tripled in a few years.
You could probably buy that car now for $20.
Yeah.
I mean, but anyway, so I think that's a great point. And the other thing is it's a behavioral change. We have to train ourselves to be in this world because we're so used to driving a gas car, going to a gas station.
Exactly.
And it's all fast, right? You get to a gas station and you get your car filled up within 5 minutes and you're out. So this is just a behavioral change to have to adapt to the fact that you're not going to fill up in 5 minutes with an EV car.
Right.
You're going to have to go through whatever it takes, depending on how much you need. I mean, maybe you don't need to sit there and fill it all the way. Maybe, get it to, 50% and you can charge it at home when you're at home. I don't know.
Yeah.
Top it up.
I don't understand it. I don't have one yet. I've had my eye on a couple of them, but I'm still kind of hesitant.
BMW has a nice one.
Yeah, I know that's the one.
I know, huh?
Filling up my car is pretty fast, but I'm sure back in your day, Ralph,
Back in my day,
they were doing what?
when Jughead would come up and go, would you like some gas?
They would fill your car and wash your windows
Well,
and
it's a behavior
oil
change.
all that stuff. Like, it took a while,
Well, in New Jersey, it's required to do that.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only state left in the union where they actually have to do it that way. You can't pump your own gas.
It was like that in Oregon when I lived there.
Yeah, they changed it.
What about for EVs in New Jersey? Do they don't check your oil?
I don't know, but I attended a...
No, because Jughead doesn't know how to plug it in.
Right?
Oh, okay. Do they plug it in for you in New Jersey?
No, they don't. But there is a piece of equipment that is on the market where it actually will select the port for you and plug it in the car, so you don't ever have to get out of your car.
You don't have to get out of your car.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a robotic sensor.
Really?
Yeah.
Are we getting lazy?
Yeah,
that
we
you could
are.
pull up to your.
How do you even ask that? Of course we're getting lazy.
Your electric car is a Roomba.
Well, yeah,
It
and you
just
pull up and
goes
you're
up
watching Netflix or something
automatically.
like that while it's charging.
You don't have to
to
drive
move.
it.
Yeah.
It's hands free. You don't have to drive it. You're
Autonomous,
sleeping in your car.
Waymo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Did you say Waymo? Mm-hmm. Yeah, those things freak me out.
It's
You ever
almost
drive next
cheaper
to one
than-
of those things and there's nobody driving it?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
It's
Freaks me out.
Ralph is the one who honks at him. Move.
Waiting for a honk
Oh,
back.
right.
It's a ghost.
That's
oh my
not a
gosh.
communication. Yeah.
It just freaks me out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do want to drive. I want to go on one because I know they have a ton of them down in Phoenix.
Yep.
And they're all Jaguars, I think,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'll eventually go on one. And of course, and in the press, you also hear about the carbon footprint. So obviously, this helps to reduce that carbon footprint. And EV makes a lot of sense for our future going forward. I'm like, my goodness, I mean, why wouldn't you do this, right? I mean, but that's where the argument is people are like, oh, we got to go, all the way.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
the problem.
it's a personal
with,
choice.
Right.
At
That's
the
the
end of the
problem
day,
with
it's your
politics.
personal choice.
In politics, you have to either go all the way this way or all
Right.
the way that way. And the reality is, most of us normal people just want to be in the middle.
Right.
Right. And so the same with this, right? We can I can have an EV and I can have a gas car, right? Or I can
100%.
have one or the other if that's what I want.
Or a hydrogen car.
Sinner.
Must choose.
No, we're not talking about hydrogen cars. We will though. No, but I'm just saying. So
know.
we have the right to do everything. We shouldn't be ever forced to just do one thing. California. Anyway,
And that's our show. We can edit that in post.
So we've talked about how the technology is getting better. We've already gotten into that. You've talked about the growth of this industry. It's faster than pretty much everything else. It's faster than the solar industry. It's growing so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I know the economy has hurt every industry, and I know it's had an impact on this industry as well. You've heard the CEOs come out and talk about it, where they may be changing their plans up and not developing as many cars as fast as they were thinking. But they're not going to stop developing them.
No.
We're still going to do it.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to, adjust to the pace of the sales, obviously.
Right.
And the economy has hurt the sales of cars. So, all right, I want to talk about the cool stuff.
Ooh, okay.
Because
I
there's
like
cool
cool
stuff.
We didn't do that already?
No, there's
This has already been
Is
cool.
this all cool?
no, there's
That's
cooler.
why I love it.
There's
cool
cooler
stuff.
stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned to me about the thing going on in Detroit.
Yes.
Talk about that.
So it's going to be the first, it's research and development, but an induction highway, electrical highway in Detroit.
Hmm.
Do y'all
That's
know
cool.
what that
I know
means?
what that is. I know what that means. It's
Go
like
ahead.
it's like wireless.
Explain it to me.
Mystery everything over here. It's like wireless charging for your phone.
Exactly.
You put your phone on a little wireless charging pad. There's nothing actually plugged into it. That's how it charges. So same concept.
So
with
it's a
cars.
highway. It's not
Yeah.
like you're going to be stopping on this road, but
Right.
as you're driving on the road, it will be charging your vehicle as you drive over it.
So I meant the Detroit Lions, but okay, I guess we're not talking about that. But okay, so the induction charging.
Yes.
So the slower you go, the more charge you'll get out of it, I guess, right?
Well, it already
'Cause
exists
Because you'll be on there longer.
Wow, that's a crazy idea.
If you're stuck in traffic, you can just watch your battery go up and up and up and up and up.
Right. I mean, it's kind of a crazy idea to think about the highways would be charged, electrically charged. I mean, I can't imagine what the infrastructure for that would look like. But it's a cool idea, and it'd probably be like a toll road. If you want to get on the induction highway, you've got to pay a fee.
That would be cool. Interesting.
Right? That would make sense.
Could be like a bypass road too.
That was my idea, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
So I get credit for that. Idea.
Okay,
So when
nice.
somebody's making millions of dollars
In Detroit.
right into
So they do have induction charging already that is for like transit buses, school buses, where it's a big gigantic metal plate and they pull up, charge, and then they go. So it's out there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I know, like in Seattle, because I spent time up there. The buses, they have a thing off the top of the bus, and it connects to a
cantilever.
wire.
Like bumper cars.
Where it's
Right.
above charging. Yeah.
So that's been around for
Yeah.
a while, a long while actually, probably 40 years. They've done stuff like that. So this is kind of the next generation. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool, actually.
It would be.
Yeah.
An entire
So stay
highway.
tuned.
Well, I mean, the infrastructure of that, I'm sure, is just a managing nightmare. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like, how do you think that would play into the need for, like, if everyone caught on and a lot of highways doing that, how would that impact the need for chargers?
Oh, I don't see it like
Like, it wouldn't go away, I would assume.
no.
Yeah, not completely go away. Just maybe, in those longer stretch highways between charging stations.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be endless miles and miles and miles.
Yeah.
It could be.
You could have induction segments of the highway
Yeah.
Yeah.
every so often
Yeah.
so that you get charged as you drive. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And that's something maybe that you
Like
prepay
from here
for,
to
like
Vegas,
a toll.
Yeah,
Who
like a
knows?
toll. That's what
Yeah.
I think too. Like don't steal my ideas. Like a toll. Yeah, I
Done.
think that's a great
Stolen.
idea. Hydrogen
Mine.
cars.
Yeah.
What about them?
Well, they're a thing too. Toyota has a couple of models, and so you're going to see hydrogen stations. We have some already
Really?
here. Yeah.
We have hydrogen stations here
Yep.
in Phoenix.
Yes.
Did not know that.
Yes.
Crossroads. Where are they?
Actually, I feel like there's one on like Union Hills and something. It's where you see fleet cars go into, like police
Okay.
vehicles,
Yeah.
and do their charging. That's where you find them.
Wow.
It's diversifying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, and also, how about could you retrofit a car with batteries?
You can. There is a company that's here that will. So, say you have a bunch of fleet cars, and you go to change in your lease. They're saying that it's less expensive, and they'll rip out your engine and they'll put in a battery for you.
Doesn't
So they
Robert Downey Jr. do something like that?
Iron Man is that? No.
Yeah. No, sorry. Doesn't Iron Man do something like that? No, like look it
Yeah.
up. Look it up. He does that. He takes old cars, like old classic cars, and makes them electric.
Yeah.
It's like a little side project.
Iron
he has.
Man's not.
So I feel
real.
like back in the this was a couple
the
years
actual
ago.
person,
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
does
okay.
it.
I thought you were talking about Iron Man. I
No,
was like,
not
that's
in
not
the
real.
not
man.
in the
Did you
movie.
know that?
Not
I
in
know,
the
I got
movie.
him
No,
scroll.
this is
You
the
confused
from
me.
real life. I can't remember. It's a show that he does, but it takes classic cars and
And you're saying the
retrofits them.
cost of that is cheaper than replacing an engine?
So what they're saying is, I mean, back in the day, it depends on how big the battery is or retrofitting. They are located here. I believe it's in Chandler. They'll give you like a cost estimate. So it could be $40,000, but you get a 30% tax credit on it.
Okay.
And then now you have
Yeah,
an electric car.
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph's pondering.
I'm on the fence.
He's not looking at anyone, just staring off into the abyss.
I'm on the fence. I'd have to see it, but I think it's an interesting concept, but I'm a little on the fence. But I get to be on the fence.
Yeah, I know.
And there's fleets like you talked. I think there's Amazon's got a fleet of electric vehicles.
Oh gosh, there's so many companies that are going electric fleets. Republic Services, waste management. So those trucks are going electric.
USPS.
Yeah, the Postal Service got electric cars, fleet cars,
right?
Buses. I don't know what you'd call them, like the little mini electric.
And I know you've dabbled, like we've talked about the city of Mesa is fire truck, right?
Yes, they are having a fire truck.
Wow.
An electric fire truck.
That's pretty cool.
That will
It's pretty
explode
awesome.
and get on fire. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right.
It is
Ralph.
pretty awesome.
Wow,
But a lot of city municipalities, police departments, I've done a lot of site assessments with police departments. They're getting the Ford Lightnings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. And I know there's, semi trucks I've seen that are electric, right? We talked about buses. I know that we were working with somebody about a whole bus program to get all these buses to be electric. I know that's still going on right now, but there's a push for that. You mentioned even ferries.
The Made of Mist, if you know about that, Niagara Falls.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And also the ferry that's at the one that's on Pike Street in Seattle.
Yeah.
So that one went electric. So it's not just cars that are going electric. We're going to have electric aircrafts across from our office.
I've seen the commercials.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Electric aircrafts.
Yes.
Yeah. Honda is working on a lot of those, right? Yep.
But Deer Valley Airport is looking to do a pilot program with electric aircrafts.
Really? Were you talking to them about it?
Of course. Or I wouldn't be doing my job. Yeah, I mean, the future is just so exciting. It's just fire hosing every single day. Money's available, incentives are there.
Let's talk about grant money. Like, what kind of grant money is out there?
Yeah, so school districts can apply for grants for electric school buses, big incentives for that. And they're getting, anywhere from $500 to, I think, up to $4 million on a couple of the grants that were available. City municipalities are getting grants. So part of the hurdle is you need to have a grant writer being able to ask for that money and make sure you hit all that criteria. But the funds are available. The federal government opened up a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, the money's there. Why not?
Why not spend it?
They've allocated the money for that purpose. Use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Arizona for a second. So, in all this big EV world, where do we rank? I mean, what are we doing as far as our infrastructure and stuff? How is Arizona doing?
Oh gosh, I want to say like our EV adoption is what, 6th or something like that in the United States.
6th.
6th. The infrastructure, we haven't even cracked the top 10. There's a lot of space, a lot of land in between some of our cities that we don't have charging networks. So Electrify America kind of started, and the whole idea is to have it within 40 miles of each other, that you would have a DC fast charger. Same with Tesla. That was the whole thought process when they started. Now it's just a timing thing. I feel like there's enough projects in the funnel, but we do have some delay with our suppliers and transformers and things like that. So things that went to contract last year or were on the books or designed, they're not going to get completed until next year. So it's getting better, but there's a lot of gap in Arizona for the infrastructure.
So, like anything new, right? I mean, I was kind of wondering about that before. Suppliers might have challenges getting what we need to do what we need, right? I mean, I have no idea what goes into all this, but I'm sure there's kind of a supply line issue here and there at times, especially as we got out of the pandemic. Especially that's because at that point it was really starting to grow, and then everything just kind of stopped. Right, so manufacturers probably ranked back, now they're probably getting going, but we're probably seeing the effects of that still.
Oh yeah. We're still deficient on the supply chain when it comes to the transformers that are required, and those are utility-sized transformers. So it's not just like Harmon being able to purchase a utility transformer. It's like TEP, SRP, APS. Yeah. They're backlogged on getting transformers.
We deal with that a lot, just in supply chain issues. Just people say like, "Oh, like what's taking you guys so long?" Like, time out.
Yeah.
It's not taking us so long. Right? Like, we ordered it ahead of time.
Construction is so quick.
Yeah.
It's definitely the quickest part of the process. Yeah.
And you talked about ADOT with the NEVI funds, $76.5 million. I mean, so that's a big deal, and that's going to help Arizona get going.
Correct.
I mean, I wonder how. I mean, who's the number one state of adoption? Who's doing
California.
it the best? California, of course, California.
Your favorite?
Well, it's my hometown, right? Yeah. I'm from California, but so. They're number one.
Yeah.
They got it going.
Yeah.
Right. They're way miles ahead of everybody. Are there states that are fighting this that you know of? Are there states that are, saying, we don't want to worry about this right now, or they're rejecting it?
Do we want to talk about my home state, Montana?
Yeah, let's talk about Montana. Are they not doing it?
Definitely not as fast.
No.
The adoption of EV and the infrastructure is not as fast.
And that they're going to have their challenges because talk about widespread areas of nothing, except for maybe a buffalo, right?
I mean, we're still a
14
horse and
people in
buggy there.
Montana.
I don't know what everybody else thinks we drive, but yeah.
Yeah, as you go through the Midwest, I would think it's going to get kind of tough.
Sure.
But we got to be grateful to the Electrify Americas and the Teslas. And there's a lot of manufacturers stepping up and doing installs, Blink and ChargePoint, EVgo's. Right now, it's a race for that real estate. So these companies are taking on the expense to put the installs in because they want to get their product there.
How's Texas doing?
Texas is pretty good.
Yeah, I would think that they're adapting pretty quickly and trying to get that going. Another area with a ton of state and a lot of nowhere areas.
Sure.
Especially West Texas.
I'm thinking of Nebraska, where I was from.
Yeah.
Go big red.
Go big red.
Lot of just miles and miles and miles of farmland. So like
corn.
Yeah, haven't implemented that infrastructure there for EV chargers. I feel like it's going to be a very I'll say it's a nightmare.
Yeah. And I mean, everybody's harping on the deadline 2030, 2035. That's
Sure.
like, it's just like, I mean, you're my boss in sales. If I came to you with, gosh, Ralph, I want to bring in all this business. You're like, okay, well, give me a projection. I'd be like, I don't know. You're going to be like, no, I need a time frame. I need something. I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, are these dead set dates? You have to put something out there. It can't be endless.
They're not probably realistic.
So I feel like we'll have to see some flexibility again when these numbers hit and these, 2030 and the money hit. It was before we saw this gigantic supply chain issue.
Right.
That was uncontrollable.
I just wish that people would just take the politics out of all this stuff and just, this is the benefit, the world and us and everything else. Let's just move forward as a humanity.
Right.
And whatever makes sense and we can grow from. I mean, it'd be cool to have induction highways and electric cars and all that stuff, but it doesn't mean it needs to wipe out the other one, at least at this time anyway.
Right.
So.
And that's not the plan.
Right. That shouldn't be the plan. Right.
There's pros and cons to each one.
Yeah. I guess the problem is we only hear the extreme things on the news. And that's the problem. You have to get past all that. So one last thing, we talk about batteries. I mean, I know that they can now recycle some of these batteries. And you told me a cool thing about what we have going on here in Arizona.
Yeah, we actually have a battery recycling plant that is here. They relocated here from Toronto, a very large one. So
in Gilbert.
Yes.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they can take these things out and recycle them and
I think that was one of the biggest things that you hear all the time. Like, oh, what do you do with the batteries? It's, polluting and throw them away. But apparently we don't just throw them away. We can recycle. Not
anymore. And now we found a lithium mine between Oregon and I'm trying to think. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
The
world's
lithium
largest.
Mine. World's largest lithium mine.
Stumbled across that.
That happened
there
this
it
year.
is. World's largest.
There it is. I own this.
Yeah.
Been sitting here the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, that was crazy.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the border of Nevada and Oregon.
Really?
That's like a corner. That's like
that's like a tiny corner.
Just like right there.
The 3-inch space.
Yeah, so that was a pretty big aha moment, which is exciting because again, they're like, well, we need lithium for the batteries, and
I'd rather get it from here too, and I think that
100%.
would help a lot with the narrative. So that's pretty awesome. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Very cool. What else don't I know?
Oh gosh,
and
EV related.
Yes. This would be my safety minute to all the listeners.
Yes.
But when you install chargers, you install them in a breaker at your residential, at your home. So just because it says spare on there does not mean that you can just put something in there and add electricity. You should really have it engineered and permitted because you're adding a live load. And depending on the configuration of what's already there, you could be overloading your panel. You're not going to know that. So even as a resident, Harman has definitely that line in the sand that we will not install a residential charger unless it's engineered and permitted. And that's for safety reasons. Same with commercial. Believe it or not, these level 2 chargers, they come off of a breaker in a panel in your electrical room.
I know we always talk about why Harman.
Right.
Why should we do roofing with Harman? Why should we do, well, that's why you should do EV chargers with Harman.
Who's the number one EV charger installation company in Arizona?
Harman.
Oh, look at that.
Harman Electric.
I have a feeling you knew that answer before
I did know that answer.
We definitely have the deepest resume.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
I know.
And who made that happen?
Oh, here we go.
Ralph Romano for
No,
hiring
not
Trisha.
Ralph Romano, but Trisha made that happen.
You did hire me though.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool to think that we got so ahead of the curve that we are it when it comes to Arizona.
It's exciting.
I mean, you work with the utilities; they come to you, ask questions. I mean, all the people that have these different programs that come out with, they talk to you.
Well, it's constant learning. You have to be aware of what's going on, and then it definitely helps that. We've had the support, the volume, and we've had the hiccups in the beginning. There's a lot of things that we didn't know when we installed.
We had to learn.
These.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every single site is different. And too many people want to create some sort of cookie cutter cost, some sort of cookie cutter way of just like, oh, A, B, and C. It does not exist in this world.
And to those of you that we installed in the beginning, we're sorry.
We were learning.
We were learning.
But in the end, it ended up perfect.
In the end, it always ends up perfect.
Yes.
But it was a process.
Yeah.
We had to learn a lot.
Yeah.
But there's people that are going to have to go through that now that we've already done, and so we're way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Right?
We are.
So when you think Harman, right? We always say Harman Solar, but we're so much more than a solar company, right? We're in the EVSE space. I mean, we're in the infrastructure space. We're helping. We've talked about doing this in different states and really expanding out to help because we have that much knowledge, not just in Arizona.
Yeah, and we have the ability to do something even more than just charging equipment. We have projects that we do solar covered parking, and we do vehicle chargers. Residentially, we do the batteries, and so that's the next organic thing that you're going to see residentially is solar battery charging units.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just makes sense, right? I mean, so again, solar charger battery units. That's us, right? So we and we have a lot of customers now. And I would say a lot. I'd say, I don't know,
We do get those.
40% of the people right now
package.
that want to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And we've installed quite a few chargers and it makes sense, right? So think of Harman when you're thinking EV.
If you want everything all in
Not
on
EV.
one roof.
Well, I said it wrong. See,
Not EV.
You did.
Don't come here and buy a car. I can't sell
We don't
it to
do
you,
EVs.
right? So, but we can do the EVSE. So I think when you're thinking chargers, you're thinking equipment, you're thinking infrastructure. Next time you drive by a charger, we probably installed it. I always tell people that. See that charger? We did it.
Yeah.
So most of the stuff out there, we've done it. So kind of cool. And all because of the effort we made 5 years ago to start getting into this.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of took a leap and thought it was organic, and who knew? I mean,
Who knew?
who knew?
I'll be honest. I think I know how it actually happened.
Oh, here we go.
Ralph probably it came across Ralph's desk and he was like, I don't want to deal with this. It's not going to go anywhere. Trisha, here,
Hey, see what you can do with
see
this.
what you can do with this. It's not going to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden it blows up and he's like, oh wow, she did a good job.
And I think on that note,
Is that true? Is that that sounds about right?
Oh, geez, thank you.
absolutely not. So anything else you'd like to share with us? I mean, we've gone over a lot of stuff. It's been really good information, educational. I know I've learned a lot. I'm sure Ben learned something.
I think just one other point that I would like to bring up is we do get a lot of phone calls, and again, it's education, but it seems really simple for a customer to call and ask for a charger, and can we get a charger that just ties into a solar system? But a solar system does not directly feed charger electricity.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably like a misnomer that's out there.
That would be scary.
Yeah. So
And it's charged.
sadly, there's a lot of phone calls where it's more education.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't direct feed it, but obviously
Right.
you're feeding your home for electricity. Yeah.
It does that.
It all works together at the end, but it's not a direct feed.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and there's some commercials that are out there that are a little bit confusing too. You're like, oh gosh, well, I can just, solar to charger to my car.
We do get those calls of people
Yeah.
like, oh, can I get solar to just for my AC or just for my car, or just for my pool? Like, no, that's not how it works.
Good point, yeah. Like at the back, Harman in the back, a lot of Harman, we have that massive array of solar panels that are feeding our building, and then we have a charging system
Correct.
in the back attached to it for our electric cars.
Yeah. So right now there's no direct feed
Right.
that's out there. There is a product that has solar battery chargers that is a metal plate that you can use a forklift. It's called Beam. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen that. You showed me pictures of those.
Yeah.
Those are
off-grid.
kind of cool.
But, again, it's just education.
So I guess what you learned from this is this is really just the start, right?
Oh,
we're just
sure.
we're just starting. We're just crawling right now.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to the running yet. So there's so much more that's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years with this. I mean, just stay tuned. Keep an eye out, watch it, try to get past all the bad news and stuff, and just focus on this because this is an interesting market. There's some really cool stuff down the road that we could get to.
Yeah.
There's probably stuff we haven't even thought about that's even cooler than that we can't even imagine right now.
Mind blown.
The flying electrical car. I mean, I don't know.
It's the Jetsons.
Right. It could be, right? So, and there's already a flying car prototype out there right now, which is kind of cool. That was really good, actually.
I like that. See,
yeah,
I was practicing.
Yeah, so that'll be good for your stand-up tonight.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a lot. This industry is going to keep growing, and we're happy that we got in front of it, right? And we'll continue to hopefully stay in front of it and continue to grow doing this. So hopefully you learned something about this today. Trisha?
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh,
Yes, thank
my
you.
pleasure.
It's always a pleasure talking to you. And you're, like I said, the expert in the industry, Trisha Windell. No doubt about it. We're really lucky to have you. And Ben.
There we go.
Did you
there
learn
it is.
something?
Mr.
I
Everything.
did. I was hoping that you would say you're lucky to have me too, but that's for another podcast.
That's
What
for
did
another-
you learn, Ben?
I learned a lot about all the cool stuff going on. The recharging of or not recharging, but the recycling of batteries. I did not know
That's pretty cool.
hot topic.
Yeah. I mean, I like the induction highway though. That's the coolest.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
That's the coolest. So
Stay tuned. More to come.
there is more to come. So and when we get more and we have more things going on, we're going to bring you back.
Done.
There we go.
Deal.
What's the next topic?
The next topic.
I told you this. So
I know.
See if you remember.
I believe we're having a guy come in.
We are having a guy.
It's talking about how we do our designs.
That's right. Our solar designs, the
Our
initial
solar
design.
The initial design that you see in like a proposal of
Ooh,
where are
like a
these
solar array.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
We're not going to get into terminology just yet because
Ooh,
people
sorry.
don't know what arrays are.
But we're going to get into. We're very big on giving you the why.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you the why on what we do, and why are you putting this here or that there, or why are you doing that? There's so many things that develop that why, and we're going to share all that with our expert who's been with us forever, and he'll be on the next podcast.
So make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe to this podcast. We are going to be available now on Spotify and iTunes, as well as our YouTube and our website. So
Giddy up.
continue to subscribe and to follow and to watch. And one of the things we'd like to do too, you'll see on social media, is if you have any questions that you'd like us to answer on these podcasts, or if you have any ideas on podcasts you'd like us to do, just go ahead and give us a little quick note. You'll see the links on social media or come to our website. Call in 800-281-3189. You guys met Gio last time. Tell her what you want, question you might have or what you'd like to see. And we'll see if we can answer some of those questions on the air and put some of those podcasts together.
Sounds good.
Right? So thank you
Amazing.
again. Yeah,
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you,
My
Trisha.
pleasure.
Thank you, Ben, for co-hosting. And we'll see you all next time. Appreciate your time today, and thank you.